Welcome to week 8 of NFL Game Picks. We got DJ, we got Chris, and of course we got myself, Austin. And week 7 was not fun for me. It's pretty fun for not for Chris either.
No.
So DJ, DJ, we're just gonna jump straight to DJ. DJ, tell us, how was your week 7 of watching NFL Game Picks?
My week 7 for me specifically, team based, it was kind of nerve wracking because, as I said to you guys earlier off air, you never know what you're gonna get out of Jameis Winston. And hearing that prior to him getting to my team, I was like, oh man, what? They're just over exaggerating. Bucs fans don't know what they're talking about. Little did I know, oh my gosh, how true they were. But aside from that, the biggest surprise for me for week 7 was how the Bengals handled the Ravens from start to finish. I watched that game, you guys, and when I tell you they literally manhandled them from start, I won't say manhandle, but they had control of the game from start to finish, and they just took over in the third quarter. I was shocked.
I wasn't shocked. I took the Bengals.
Yeah.
I don't know about manhandling them, but I thought they would win for sure. Another one that I was pretty shocked about, although they were playing the Jets, but the Patriots hung 54 points on the Jets. I think that's the most points I've seen this season. I'm almost positive.
You know, a little nugget that I saw, fun fact, you know, the last quarterback to win in a Jets uniform at Gillette Stadium?
Mark Sanchez?
It probably was.
Brett Favre?
Fitzpatrick?
Brett Favre?
Brett Favre was Brett Favre.
No shot.
I promise you, bro.
Wow.
I looked it up.
No.
It's a fun fact. Like, I
Wow.
follow like a verified fun fact page. And
Okay.
Brett Favre was the last quarterback to win
Wow.
in Foxborough.
Because Sanchez, Fitzpatrick, McCown,
Tebow.
Sanchez would have been the only
Geno
logical
Smith.
explanation, but
yeah,
you know
it would have
they
been
play twice a year.
it would have been either
They
Sanchez or Fitzpatrick for
Did
me.
they make the playoffs with Favre?
Nah, they didn't make the playoffs.
Okay. So,
Minnesota made the playoffs with him. and
Yeah.
Yeah. And Green Bay.
Yeah. I'd hope so. Chris, tell us about your Chicago Bears and the blunder of a game.
Well,
against,
we scored the least tied for the least amount of points last week, so that's always fun.
Yeah.
But
you said somehow that's better than what the Dolphins did against the Buccaneers. Explain
the
that.
margin of error, we only lost by 2 more points than you guys. I didn't say it was better, but you know who else scored 3 points last week? Kansas City Chiefs. I'm not that worried. But no, we look bad. Play calling was terrible again, and Packers are just gonna run away with this division, I guess. Since Bears can't seem to win, Vikings didn't win or lose last week. They had a bye, but I really don't see them pulling it together for much, honestly.
You're forgetting the most important team in the division, bro.
The one that's ran by Dan Campbell.
Motor City Dan Campbell. The Lions.
Just blew
We're gonna
out
talk about them a lot, I think, this week. But yeah, my Miami Dolphins looked. How do I say it? Nonchalant. Like it wasn't the best game. It wasn't the worst. They definitely they had their chance to win the game. They were competing, and
Yeah.
at one point they had a lead.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 points in the game, in the very beginning and the very end, and then somehow your defense can't get off the field on third down, and it just snowballs into one thing after the other, and then that's it. You lose your game.
That's the
Game-winning
worst.
kick.
Those drive
Second
extenders.
straight week, the Dolphins lose to a game-winning kick. I mean, it's really hard to put that in my head. Like, damn, like we were so good last year, and then this year is like
Yeah.
that. But acceptance is one of the things I've learned over this past week.
What did you think of Cordell Patterson after you saw him play against your Dolphins? Were you impressed?
I was and was not. Like, I mean, he's
Pro
very
Bowl?
versatile.
Is he a Pro Bowler type player though? You think?
I'd have to say no. He's definitely up there in contention because he's Cordell Patterson. He doesn't have a position, right?
Yeah.
He's Taysom Hill without the quarterback aspect to
I'm
him,
glad
right?
you said
He's
that.
too big to be a running back. Too slow to be a decent wide receiver. I mean, he's not that slow, but like
He could be a really good tight end. Like I think he could be a really good tight end, but I don't think he wants to play the position.
He's
I think
the
he
Ty
wants,
Montgomery of the Atlanta Falcons. Like if you
basically. Like I 100% agree with that. But let's jump into week 8. But before we do, let's shout out NFL Game Picker.
yes, sir.
You can check out NFL Game Picker at NFLGamePicker.com, where you can sign up for free today and pick every game every week with your friends, family, and coworkers at NFLGamePicker.com. Once again, that is NFLGamePicker.com. And the first game this week on Thursday, we have the Green Bay Packers facing off with the Arizona Cardinals. And man, this is a heavyweight battle. We have the 6-1 Packers and the 7-0 Cardinals. You got me thrown off, DJ. DJ is not a fan of what I said about those two teams being heavyweights. But let me tell you guys why. Cardinals, they're undefeated. I mean, and they have so many weapons on offense. I mean, it's just so hard to stop them, especially with the new acquisition of Zach Ertz. I mean, that just completely bolsters their offensive firepower. And then if you include that with like having D-Hop, AJ Green, Christian Kirk, which I think he's a solid number 3 for them.
I think he's one of the best number 3s in the NFL right now.
In the NFL?
Best number 3? Yeah.
No,
other than Antonio Brown,
the numbers,
AB
AB's definitely the best number 3. But for what do you call it? Like their team, I mean, they're just they have so much depth on offense. Yeah. It's just insane, and their defense is not bad either. But then you have the Green Bay Packers, who are pretty solid themselves, but they're going into this game without Devontae Adams, and that desperately hurts them. Even though they're 6-0 without him, I don't know if they can continue that stat with playing this game against the Cardinals. So that's why I'm gonna go with the Cardinals. And like throughout the season, I've been a big guy on the Packers, but man, it hurts me to pick against them. But this one is definitely a game that could easily slip away from them, but it's gonna be close.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be as close as you may think. Honestly, there's a lot of people out this week. I don't even know who's going to play at wide receiver for Green Bay because Lazard's out, Devontae's out, Valdez-Scantling is going to be out, I'm pretty sure, too.
He's on IR.
He's on IR, so he's out. No J.J. Watt, but that defense is still pretty good. Speaking of defense, can we get ESPN to change Devondre Campbell for Green Bay's? His profile picture is still the Cardinals. And they're playing each other this week. And it's messed me up more than once already. So can you please, ESPN, change his jersey color
quick
to
2 seconds.
They
quick
take
2 seconds.
They take those pictures at the beginning of the year.
But he's played the whole season with Green Bay.
Yeah, I know.
He played 2020 but with the Cardinals. But anyways, just a little few things that I find interesting that I thought I would bring up about the Cardinals. Going with the Cardinals, by the way.
Yeah, I was about to make that selection.
Kyler Murray is 5th right now in passing yards, but none of his wide receivers are anywhere close to being any of the best wide receivers in the league. And if you look at like Brady,
by stat
wise, obviously, dude, they're freaking one of the best wide receiver cores in the league.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at like some of the other leaders in passing yards, like Brady, Evans is up there, Stafford, both of his wide receivers are up there, Mahomes. Yeah, Cooper Kupp's playing good. Dude is.
It don't matter.
Let's go.
He screwed me over in fantasy last week. But Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, same thing. But Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins is the closest one at 26th right now in the NFL. He has 7 touchdowns though, so that's nothing to like throw away. But after that, I think AJ Green was like 29th or 30th, and Christian Kirk was 31st or something like that.
Like they're really close together.
I think that's only a testament to how good you were speaking about Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
If you don't have a wide receiver within the top 15, but yeah, you're 5th in passing yards.
Exactly.
You spread that rock around pretty well.
Mm-hmm. Plus, no, go ahead. Keep going.
What was you about to say?
I was just gonna say, plus their defense is really good too. So they're fourth right now as far as overall yards allowed. And they're forcing turnovers. They're 3rd in turnovers. So I feel like Arizona's going to win this one more easily than you think. And I hope they bang Aaron Rodgers around a little bit.
Well, real quick, like I was pretty surprised with how good the Cardinals have been so far this season in terms of defense. The offense, I was kind of expecting that because they just have so many weapons. It's not even fair. And then now add Zach Ertz, but then their defense has just been completely surprising to me. Like I thought they were gonna be decent, but I was surprised with how many turnovers they've been able to force and stuff.
Towards the end of the year, you can see Buda Baker like really coming on as one of the best safeties in the league. And
he's 100% their best defensive player.
I'm picking the Cardinals, but the face I made earlier, what you're alluding to about I'm not a fan, is the injuries that Chris alluded to. He said, you got Marquez Valdez-Stanton out, Devontae Adams out. You got 2 offensive tackles out.
It's not favorable in terms of the offense for Green Bay.
I wish JJ was playing, man.
Me too. Just to hear you coincide those words out. We're just simply the better football team.
We're just fucking better.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
That's my impersonation voice right there.
Yeah. Not too bad.
The only thing is if Green Bay could maybe slow down the pass game, which I don't really envision them doing.
But the Cardinals run the ball more than it. So it's like pick your poison.
They're not. They don't really have anybody that's really a great
They don't have
runner.
a name runner, but they run the ball efficiently.
They've been pretty good, all phases of the game, running, passing, defense. I mean, special teams has been pretty decent as well.
It's just hard because it's like, all right, well, Chase Edmonds and James Conner have pretty close stats as far as yards. They're both like in the 330 range or so. And it's like, well, that's decent, but like Chase Edmonds hasn't scored a touchdown yet. James Conner has all 6, which I have James Conner in fantasy, so shout out to that. I play him since freaking Josh Jacobs has been out the whole year. They don't want to draft him. That's a different story for a different day. But I'm rolling with the Cardinals. Are you guys doing the same?
Yeah, we're all going to Cardinals here.
Next game? Not that sure about, honestly. I haven't picked it yet, so I want to hear what you guys have to say about the Carolina and Falcons game, because I think it's a toss-up in my opinion.
Yeah, what Chris is referring to is the Carolina Panthers at the Atlanta Falcons, and this game is iffy. It's Panthers are on a slide right now. They've won 3-0, and then they've lost every game since.
Yeah.
And then you have the Panthers, the Falcons, who just have not been good, I would say. And then they come and beat the Dolphins, and I forgot who else they beat. Before that.
Darnold got benched too.
Yes, he did for PJ Walker.
So
XFL guy, or whatever you call it.
If I could be very brief, I'm just gonna go with the Falcons. I think they're riding a high, and the Panthers have kind of lost their way.
I'm picking the Falcons as well, but the Falcons, if you look at the series over like the past 5 to 10 years, and obviously they're in my division, so I pay close attention to them. Yeah. But the Falcons have owned the Panthers and Falcons series, so there's no reason for me to pick against them, and they have a better offense. Not saying they're a better complete football team, but offensive-wise, they're, I want to say, head and shoulders above the Panthers, but you just alluded to they benched their starting quarterback with the captain sticker on his jersey. So
yeah,
how sure are you in the flow of your offense? Which is why I'm picking the Falcons.
I'm gonna pick the Falcons for 2 reasons. One, pretty much everything you guys said about Sam Darnold getting benched. They're on a slide. And 2, Arthur Smith, I don't know if you saw, jokingly, but still, offered to try out to the Kembe Mutombo. Did you guys see that?
No. But it's definitely something all up in your radar.
So
only Chris would know.
No passing lanes in here.
Exactly.
Dude, imagine him on the defensive line.
No, he's talking about run blocking, putting a big guy like that out on the field blocking for him, and he's like, "The Kembe,
he's tall.
if you're watching this, I'll have him work you out tomorrow." So I love that. I love a coach that has a sense of humor, and I love basketball. Yeah. So for that reason, I'm rolling with the Falcons. Although I doubt we'll see 55-year-old Dikembe Mutombo out on the field
in the trenches, dude.
But imagine him on the D-line just swatting balls down all day.
Dude, I would like to see him on the D-line. That would be nice.
Right? That'd be all the more reason why you don't pick with the Falcons. That's what can go wrong will go wrong with the Falcons.
Oh,
that's living testament to those dirty birds.
DJ, tell us about this next game we have.
We have the Cincinnati Bengals led by Joey Buckets, Joe Burrow, against the New York Jets, who just traded for Joe Flacco. They traded back for Joe Flacco.
I know, right?
Last year.
Why don't they want Nick Foles? You wanted him
No
before.
one, nobody wants Nick Foles.
You keep
bro.
that bargaining chip over there.
Yeah,
You keep
for
that in
real,
your
man.
pocket as long as you can.
It's not. I don't even think that's a bargain.
It's not.
But it's quite the opposite. Dude.
Oh man, I'm
Real-
sorry, y'all.
Real quick, before you get into it, DJ, are the Bengals your second favorite team in the NFL now?
Hey,
They
bro,
almost stole DJ's chant, dude.
funny story. So all of my family and people in high school knows I love the Ravens. I love everything about Ray Lewis and Ed Reed, and they just played last week. And I accidentally caught myself rooting for the Bengals because, you know, the Joe
They got your
Burrow,
boy on the
Jamar
bet.
Chase, the LSU connection. I was like, okay, let's go. Whoa, DJ, what has become of you? So the Bengals are.
Well, you just named two players that currently play, and the other two players are retired Hall of Famers. So it's like,
Yeah,
you can change. You know,
I've
if you
served
want.
my due diligence with the Ravens, right?
They've been pretty good, man. They've been pretty good recently.
But that's all the more reason why I'm picking the Bengals. The Bengals have been on a roll, and they're playing against the Jets, who don't know who they. Well, I ain't gonna say they don't know, but Zach Wilson just
He's
got
not
hurt,
starting.
He got hurt.
and
They
Joe
already
Flacco.
named
Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco is starting. Or
no,
Mike
the
White.
Mike
Mike White.
White. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
from-
starting.
Mike
I mean-
White out of Hialeah, Florida, where I'm from.
But what
Yes, sir.
they traded, Joe Flacco was in that system already, so I thought with a last minute trade he would not necessarily
Yeah,
be the
but-
immediate starter, but it's not too many more wrinkles and kinks that you could work out. But I'm not a joke. That's a whole nother story for another
That's
day. Yeah.
Mike
So,
White
I'll
is
say
from
a quick.
Pembroke Pines, Florida.
Yeah, but he's from Hialeah, dude. Don't listen to all that stuff.
He reps high.
Yeah, he wears Hialeah on his chest. Anyways, I'm going with the Bengals as well. They've been one of my favorite teams to watch this year.
Yeah,
Just for the mere fact that the Dolphins suck and the Bengals have been off to a way better start to the season. But aside from that, like, they've been actually a really good team. And going against the Jets, I mean, it's a no-brainer. I got to go with the Bengals here. I've been pretty high on them all year, and I'm going to continue that high, and especially with them facing the Jets. I mean, as I said again and again and again, it's a no-brainer. Chris?
yeah, I would have to agree. It's probably gonna be a no-brainer. Jets are bad. Bengals have been playing pretty good football, and Jamar Chase, number 2 in the league right now. After
Yeah.
not being able to catch balls in
Preseason.
preseason and the first couple, because he had a lot of drops against the Bears when the Bears played him. He played pretty good, but he would have been even the more better if he caught everything. But dude's got 750 yards, 6 touchdowns already.
He broke a rookie record or something like that recently.
He's on track, they say, to beat every rookie receiving record, which a lot of them just got beaten last year with Justin Jefferson.
With his
Yeah.
former colleague.
And plus, we got a whole nother game this year, so it's like, all right, well, how
That
much
that's
can we
another
really,
thing that
you
is
know,
gonna be really accounted
Yeah.
into like records, like moving on out from this point
little
on.
asterisk? You
Yeah,
think, next
I wouldn't
time?
say it's like it's gonna be like so and so era. You know,
Yeah.
like, so it's definitely gonna be
You're
different
gonna have to
because
mention it when you-
because I mean in
yeah.
the 70s there was it was a 14-game season, so like it's totally different. Now we
That's
go
a
into
good
16.
fact.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that.
yeah.
Honestly.
That's why Dolphins went 14-0 and then 3-0 in the playoffs. That's how they got the perfect season.
17-0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
if not, it wouldn't make sense. They just won 16 games and then had one playoff game. It was a Super
You
Bowl.
guys are
Like,
saving
that doesn't
you
make
guys
any
are so
sense.
good. We're saving you for the Super
Yeah,
Bowl.
just lock them in, dude.
Lock 'em in. But yeah, easy game. I think everybody's rolling with the Bengals here.
Yes, sir, we are. But let's move on to another game, which I don't think
should
will
be pretty easy too.
Yeah, this one will be a quick game. This upcoming game we have the Los Angeles Rams at the Houston Texans, and should I log us all in?
Yeah, you go ahead
Yeah,
and
you go
put
ahead.
me
Across the
in for
board?
Rams
Yeah.
and
On three
yeah.
though, on three. Ready?
1, 2, 3.
Texans.
Rams.
Oh, dude,
Yeah,
come
he
on,
didn't even
bro.
say anything. So don't even put DJ down. Just mark him off as a no.
Okay,
no
DJ.
contest.
Yeah, undecided. Okay.
Undecided pick. Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
the
But
game picker
DJ's a
says.
game time decision, dude.
Just to touch on the Rams a slight bit. I love seeing Matthew Stafford return home. I'm a Bears fan, but my dad's a Lions fan, so Lions have always been one of my
They're playing so far.
second favorite team. Oh yeah, you're right. He
But
didn't
they
go
played
home.
against his own team.
Yeah, you're right. But playing against some of his teammates, I really loved seeing like afterwards, like the clips of like the teammates telling him like, "I hope you win MVP. I hope you go all the way this year. Like, I'm so happy for you." Like they're just happy he's out of the Lions organization all together.
Hey, take me with you.
Yeah, for real. And
No,
now
but-
he's third in passing yards, which I feel like he's gonna finish higher than third. I mean, Derek Carr is second right now. I don't think Derek Carr is gonna stay there much longer. But he's got Cooper Kupp leading the league in wide receiving. And I don't know if you saw the meme, but it's like every time Matthew Stafford sees Cooper Kupp, he sees 81 in a Lions uniform, and I was like, no, that's not the same.
Yeah, it's too
It might
far.
as well
Every-
be though. Honestly,
every
like
time-
statistic wise.
Every time he sees Cooper Kupp open, he's
Yeah.
not throwing it into the end zone with 3 people
Yeah,
on him.
yeah, no,
like
I
old
get that.
Megatron. But
Yeah. No,
Right.
he's definitely looking. He's
Yeah.
definitely looking 10 way quicker than normal.
Definitely. No, I agree.
I'm just happy for the guy, honestly, man.
Especially like they knew like the struggles he was going through with the Lions, and then he goes to the Rams and has huge success right off the bat, and
Yep.
it's just like, and then you play him pretty early on in the season. Like there's nothing else they can really do besides say like, I hope the best for you. I mean, those are your brothers. You play with those guys, like you build such a special bond with them. So like a lot of those guys that he did have a connection with, like
Even
Pretty
on
sure they came up to
defense too. Like
Yeah.
it's not just offensive
Mhm.
players. It's everybody. It's
when you're the quarterback,
coaches.
you're the leader of the team, man. So like
Yeah.
Not
you
always, but yeah.
for the,
You should.
Generally,
if you're on a roster
if you
for more
want
than
to keep
5
your job
years-
as a quarterback,
Yeah.
you'll be the guy that everybody
On top-
galvanizes.
on top of that, you're the quarterback for a team for 5+ years. Like you definitely are the leader of that team. No
Probably
matter-
most
not
of-
even just offense, just the leader of that team. Everyone looks to you and be like, "That's the guy on our team," you know.
Probably holds most of the Lions quarterback records. If we don't even if we were to do a quick little gesture, I'm pretty sure he's every statistical category that
For the Lions,
Matthew Stafford.
Mhm.
Think about
I
what
think he
name
has
another.
to. And he was there a long time.
Yeah.
Nah, it was John Kitna. But I'm happy for the guy. Just overall, happy for him. Leave it at that. We'll move on to the next game.
Yeah, the next game, as much as I love it, I don't like it. But we have the Miami Dolphins hosting the Buffalo Bills. But before anything, we have Steve Apilo with his lock of the week.
Hey, I'm Steve Apilo, creator of NFLGamePicker.com, and this is my lock of the week for Week 8. Behind me, you see the Bonneville Salt Flats, where they set the land speed record of 622 miles an hour in 1970. However, the Buffalo Bills aren't going to need to run quite that fast this weekend, as they once again beat the Miami Dolphins this season for a season sweep. Dolphins got shut out in their first meeting. I don't know if it's going to be the same way. They might score a few points this time. However, it's not going to be enough to beat this Buffalo Bills offense, who's a little bit salty after their loss to Tennessee Titans. So, my lock of the week is the Buffalo Bills.
Steve, man, come on, dude. Why are you picking against my Dolphins? No, I can't blame you. I'm probably doing the same exact thing because the Dolphins. Whoa.
Whoa!
The Dolphins just have not looked good as of late, and it sucks. I mean, we've been in like so many. We've been in so. Why are you laughing, boy? What's
just-
over your shoulder?
It's just
Ain't too much better going on over there. At least I'm not even gonna say anything. We'll talk about your team later.
yeah.
But yeah, the Dolphins have been very disappointing this season, especially a lot of people who had, including myself, I had a lot higher expectations for them. So
Yeah.
I thought we would be more relatively competitive with the Bills in the first game. Shut out 35-0. This week it's not gonna be the same. I think the Dolphins are finally turning the page, but it's gonna be a big
What
big
makes you
page to
think
turn.
that?
What do you mean?
What makes you think that?
Being a lot more competitive, you're not
Oh,
getting shut
well,
out 35-0.
That's true. That's
Like
true.
it's a
But-
competitive team. You have a chance to win the game, and it's like how the Lions have had problems just coming up short, or like just losing by like a game-winning drive that ends up in a field goal. With that being said, though, it pains me. It pains me. I'm turning into Eddie. I'm turning into a traitor, guys. I'm picking the Buffalo Bills.
See, what you call a traitor, I call being a realist. And the fact that you finally come around after 7 weeks, you did pick them once before.
I picked them
against
with the
them-
Bucks.
you picked against them once before, but
I did the same against the Bucks for my team though. So
Yeah.
it's okay.
well, that makes two
picked-
of you.
We'll see,
You
we'll
picked
see,
the
we'll
Bears
see.
when it came to the Bucks.
Did I?
Yes, you
Yeah.
did.
Oh well, it probably wasn't a very good pick.
But I'm picking the Bills, my man.
I don't blame you, dude.
Your team hasn't really showed me anything to be like, all right, they can pull off this miracle. No, not really trying to bash you guys, but you lost to the Falcons, who beat the Jets by 7. So it's almost like a comparison. I hate to do it, but
the one thing I have to combat that is like literally like it's a different team. Every team is a different team.
Exactly.
But aside from that, like you can kind of gauge like okay, if they beat them and they beat them, like it definitely like those things kind of weigh out. But but when you look at it, are you saying the Dolphins are worse than the Jets, DJ?
Oh no, I'm not. I'm not saying. I'm not saying that, but I'm not saying you putting them in the same sentence isn't a slappable offense.
Here's the thing, though. To decide that, it's really easy. We just look at winning percentage and standings.
They won.
Who's in third place, Miami or the Jets? You can answer that, Austin. Go ahead.
Jets.
And who's in fourth?
Dolphins.
So therefore, a logic person would say
theoretically
the Jets are better than the Dolphins. No,
yeah,
but not trying to.
You've been on camp for that whole part, by the way.
Me?
Yeah.
I was looking at you there.
I know.
Oh, hello, fans. I'm gonna roll with Buffalo. I'm pretty sure they're number. Let me double check. They're number 1 in the league in turnover. Yeah, in turnovers, and Tua turns the ball over.
But yeah, that's one of those miscued stats about the Bills. They're leading the league in turnovers. Look at the teams they played against, and
shall we?
Yeah, it's one of those.
We shall.
They've had two shutout games, so
Dolphins.
Those stats are definitely going to be.
And they're like,
continue on.
They're scoring a lot.
Yeah.
Like 35, 43, 40, 38, 34 last 5 games. First game is 23.
Sounds like the
and
half of a
And
basketball
their last
game.
game was against Tennessee, right? Last week they were on a bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. The last game that they had against the Titans was
that was a
insane.
great game.
Yeah.
That was a
Back and
phenomenal
forth.
game.
Somebody pissed off Derrick Henry, and that man came out of the second half and just took over. But I'm going with the Bills. Easy pick here, I think.
Easy
no
pickings.
No offense.
No, that's fine. I mean, everyone, including myself, is going against the Dolphins. So how can I blame anybody? But I think it's almost time for DJ's lock of the week.
Yes, you guys.
There we go. Yeah, gamble of the week.
We have the Philadelphia Eagles going against the Detroit Lions in Motor City.
Motor City.
Who are they run by? Oh, yeah, man. This game, I actually have the Detroit Lions getting their first win of the season against the Philadelphia Eagles. When you think about it, the Philadelphia Eagles are almost a 2-half team. First half, they come out flatline and don't really play good. And then the second half, they try to come and win from behind. But if you look at the way the Lions play, they've been in every single game. Even though they're 0-7, this is one of those teams where we talk about their record doesn't speak volumes of how they play. And they're in damn near every game they play. They just have a mental error here or there, and it gets them. But I feel like you can afford a couple of mental errors playing against the Eagles, which is why I'm picking the Lions to beat them.
I definitely agree with you. Like, the Lions have been in a lot of like games, close games, and it comes down to the mere fact, can you finish the game? And unfortunately, it hasn't been that way for them. And like, that's the thing that sucks is like, yeah, we're good, just not good enough. And it's been that way for 7 straight weeks. Like, imagine, they catch a break here and there. They could easily be 2-5. They could be maybe 6-1, Like, I think the 49ers game is probably like the only realistic one that like, okay, yeah, they came back, but they probably weren't gonna win that one.
Garbage time.
Yeah, like, so they could easily be 6-1, which is insane, but it sucks, man, because like I totally understand how they're feeling because they're competing in every game.
Who could
and
be 6-1? The Lions?
Yeah.
Oof.
There's probably like a miscue in there, but 5-2 at the least. But aside from that, like, man, they've been so good, and just haven't put like the bow on top of the present. They're gonna get that win this week, and that's why I'm picking them.
Jeez.
I give them a 3 or 4 looking at their schedule.
Man, I just saw talking about a different type of football. I just saw breaking news that blew my mind right before this. But yeah, I mean,
you mean football?
Football, yeah.
Football.
Barcelona just made a big fire, but
shout out to Cujo.
Going back to this game. I'm gonna roll with the Lions just because. I mean, it's
For Papa,
It's
interesting.
a lock of the
Is
week.
this for Papa,
Is
right?
that what? Oh yeah, Pops. Shout out Pops. I forgot. Hey Pops, we picking them just for you.
Yeah, I mean,
Clean sweep
I
across
want
the
them
board,
to get
baby.
a win, but as my dad says every year, he wants them to lose. That way they get a higher draft pick.
But
and you know
like,
what?
you
It's-
can only do that so much.
yeah, it's tough. It's enough, man. All right?
That's enough.
That's enough. All right. But Philly has more to actually want to win. Like, I understand. All right, you're 0-7. Maybe Detroit is thinking tank for whatever.
There's no good quarterbacks out
They're,
there.
I mean,
Yeah,
they
you're
have
not
Jared
getting a good
Goff.
quarterback.
You're gonna get a good defensive player.
No, I'm talking about for the Phillies.
Derek Stingley.
But I mean, for Philly, like Philly might draft a quarterback, but you don't need him. You have 3 first-round picks anyway, so you don't need a top pick. You're gonna have 3 picks in the first round, so
You
go
have the
ahead.
equity to do anything.
Go
you want.
go ahead and take a quarterback with any of those 3, and then you're getting 2 other first-round picks on top of that. But
I would say copy what the Dolphins did in this draft, but how it pans out, you kind of don't want to
yeesh.
wish that luck on Detroit.
But
Yeah.
the only thing is for me is Philly's defense is better than Detroit's, just overall better as far as stats are concerned. And Detroit, they scored the most points in their first game, and after that, they've hardly gotten over 20 points per game. So it's kind of concerning. But at home, I feel like Dan Campbell has them so eager.
You say his name right.
Motor City Dan Campbell has them so eager and like hyped up to win. Like, I want to go and play for Dan
Right,
Campbell.
right.
I don't even play football. Like,
Put
look-
on some blue. Put
Yeah,
on
like,
some
and
The
I'm not-
Honolulu Blue, baby.
I like him 10 times over more than I like our head coach at the Bears. That's a different story for a different day. I'm rolling with Detroit at home. I hope they get their first win on Halloween.
Oh, spooky season, baby. But yeah, I totally agree with you. I think the Lions, it's overdue, man. At this point, they've just been so competitive and so close in games. Like, enough's enough. They got to get a win. And
Yeah.
luckily, they're facing an opponent that it's very realistic. Like,
It's
a lot of the
serviceable.
times, it's been like kind of a long shot. But aside from that, yeah, they're like their first 2 or 3 games. The Niners and the Green Bay Packers game are the for sure games that they should have lost. And then aside from that, it's closely contested games. But let's move on to another team. We have the we have the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Cleveland Browns. And I'm just thinking about Aaron Rodgers possibly going to Pittsburgh when he retires. Not retires, when he leaves Green Bay. But yeah, we have the Steelers versus the Browns. And Browns are dealt with a lot of injuries and still ended up managing to win on Thursday.
Yeah.
Is that more so that the Browns, found a way, or is it that the Broncos are just not that good?
Looking at the game, bro, watching the game, the Browns definitely found a way more than the Broncos gave the game away. Because the Broncos,
It was close.
they started off slow. Like, it was almost like a little stutter through the first half, but the second half, they picked their shit up. Or pick their stuff up a little bit. And
No,
they got it.
I agree
together.
with you too, because like the Browns just had control of the game pretty
Yeah.
much from the beginning.
That run game, man.
Yeah.
Who?
It-
Shout out to
Dearness
Dearness
Johnson.
Johnson.
Dearness Johnson.
Shout out Orlando Apollos, baby.
Yeah, he was like one of the first guys picked up off of like the
Yeah.
XFL teams. Like he was.
He's from the USF too,
yeah.
so not a big USF guy, but hey, man, good for you
Anyway,
showing
you
out
can keep it
on.
local, baby.
Yeah, showing out on Thursday night, almost nearly 150
What's that coach?
Does he keep it
for
up?
USF.
No, the one that went to Texas. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
You're good.
interrupt,
No,
But,
you're good.
the USF coach that put him on the map that went to Texas, and then they gave him like a year and a half, and then he got fired. The black coach.
I can't remember his name either.
But you know
he's
what
a
I'm
good
talking about,
coach.
though, right?
He was
Yeah.
a good coach. Yeah, I liked him at least. Obviously, Texas didn't.
Yeah.
But
Chris, who are you taking in this game?
this one's tough, and I don't know if the Broncos necessarily lost that game last week. They dealing with their own kind of injuries and whatnot on both ends, and Cleveland's just running the ball with whoever is there. Obviously, we're talking about Dearness Johnson. Have we talked about him ever?
No,
Exactly.
This is the first time.
But dude had a huge night on a Thursday night game. We went to Beefo Brady's. It's pour till they score, which
Didn't last long.
I thought that game, which is, if you don't know what pour till they score is, real quick, it's free beer until a team scores any points at all. And right off the bat, they had like a 25-yard pass and then like a 20-yard run on the first drive. I'm like, oh my. This is the first one I've gone to all year. And I'm like, this is going to be a good one. It might go to like halftime. I was wrong. Afterwards, they didn't really score a whole lot. Long story short, I'm still going to go with Cleveland. Although Baker may be out, so I possibly
He was out for last game, and I think the possibility of him not playing this game is still out there and probably inevitable. They did get Odell and Jarvis Landry back, which I think is huge. Like,
I wish we would have known before the.
Yeah, for sure. Like literally, like I heard about that, and I'm like, I'm fixing my fantasy lineups, but then at the same time, I'm like, oh shoot, my game pick, and it was already too late. The game started. I'm like, no,
started, bro, and I was pissed.
But yeah, I agree with you, Chris. Like, I think the chances of Cleveland winning this game are all too mighty, and that's why I'm picking them. I think they really have a good chance. The Steelers have been very they've been a letdown this year. They had a pretty good start last year. They were one of the longest undefeated teams, and then they come out this year and they're a shell of them former selves. What about you, DJ?
Well, real quick,
Okay,
before, because I want you to talk about this. So let me lead you in here.
All right.
Mike Tomlin.
Bury the lead, Chief.
Mike Tomlin. Speculation could be replacing your man, Big Ed, down there in LSU. He said no, which any coach I think in NFL would do halfway through a season. Says dismisses it all.
You heard about him at LSU. I heard about him at
USC. Bulls is what I've heard.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. What are your thoughts on that?
As a side note, I love Mike Tomlin as a coach. He's been able to get to a 500 season without his best quarterback or without his best receiver. So Mike Tomlin knows how to coach.
Mm-hmm. But never had a losing season.
Yeah,
he's never had a losing season. But
for sure, as
far as him being a hire at Tiger Stadium in LSU, the fan base they feel like they should win now. Like every year they feel like they should win now.
Especially after winning the national championship not too long ago.
Fun fact, we have the second most wins in the BCS national championship era other than
that is
Alabama.
Fun.
You know, that's just but I love Mike Tomlin's personality would coincide hand in hand with the Tigers, but
you think so with students, with young men?
No, well, his personality, like he's a hard-nosed type of, it is what you get. And LSU is I won't say a gritty type of school, but they work hard. Yeah, exactly. And Mike Tomlin, but my only concern would be the boosters. Okay, you get an 8-2 season. Are you ready to kick him out the door after just 2 seasons? And the boosters pretty much control LSU. So I'd love to have them, but I think the Steelers would love to have them even more in this game, which is why I'm picking the Cleveland Browns, because
they have 2 LSU wide receivers.
Well, not only that, not only
Go
that.
Tigers.
This thing, the Steelers.
Bayou Bengals,
the
baby.
Steelers haven't been I ain't gonna say who we thought they were because I wasn't too high on them going into the season.
I had a little bit higher expectations for them, but like aside from that, they have not delivered on it.
I said their defense was overhyped to begin the season.
Their defense is pretty good. The defense is carrying them. It's literally the offense coming short on them.
Speaking of the offense, Najee Harris has 388 rushing yards through 7 games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's quite concerning.
Dearness Johnson has half of that in 1 game.
Yeah.
So
Deontay Johnson.
Yeah.
Dearness was the last game. The Browns, I mean. Oh,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Dearness.
Because Deontay Johnson
has only played 1 game, and he has half the yards through 7 games it took Najee Harris to get to.
Well, what I was saying is Deontay Johnson on Pittsburgh wide receiver is the second leading rusher, and I thought that's what you were about to get at. But no, keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's just you even helped my argument. Honestly, you helped my argument. So
and Najee Harris is the 3rd wide receiver so far as far as yards. So
they're check down Ben or
what's he doing with Juju? He's out for the year.
He's out for the year.
Yeah, I thought so.
Well, Chris, now it's your time to shine, bud. Tell us about this next game.
Well,
the game in fold is the San Francisco 49ers versus the Chicago Bears.
bear down, baby. It's at home.
Soldier Field. The time being.
For the time being until next season. San Fran. I thought they were kind of disappointing this year. They've been banged up, but there's still no decision on whether Khalil Mack is going to play or not. Which some people might say like, oh, your defense will be fine without him.
No shot.
I think he's a game changer. Obviously,
yeah, no chance in hell you guys will be better without Khalil Mack.
Not better, but like. A lot of people
won't miss a beat without him, is what he's saying. And
I mean, people have been trying to tell me like, well, the Bears will still, they'll still be the Bears defense and blah blah blah. But like when you have Khalil Mack getting double teamed every single play almost, and opening it up for Hakeem Hicks, I'm blanking on the guy from Dallas. I should know this.
Floyd?
No, Floyd is in he's in LA,
Rams,
but. Yeah, like when you have him opening it up for everybody else, it makes it so much easier for everybody. I'm gonna roll with the Bears, and
dude,
I mean, come on, bear down, baby. San Fran's been a little bit disappointing for me. Both of their quarterbacks have been kind of banged up throughout the year. I think Trey Lance is still out. Deebo Samuel. Let me restart that sentence. Deebo Samuel is questionable as well. No George Kittle, which is huge. So I'm going to roll with the Bears. Although, after scoring 3 points last week, we did play the reigning Super Bowl champions, whatever, but I'm not 100% confident in my Bears right now.
Yeah, and I don't blame you. I mean, the Bears, they have a good defense. That is without a doubt.
Always.
Their offense, super lacking. Like, running game is kind of hit or miss. It's like there's no in between. It's either you guys don't have a running game or you guys have a running game. And then on top of that, the play calling is not suited well for Justin Fields, which is out of my mind. Like DJ brought it up earlier, but he said like Mac Jones this past week had more designed run calls than Justin Fields.
But that's on Nagy, and I've been saying that all year long. Like I'm not confident that he's a good coach, and it's hard because if the Bears do well, him and Pace are gonna get. If they do well, they're still gonna be there. And if they do poorly, all right, well maybe they'll get rid of them. But like
Nagy will say he didn't call the plays that way.
Exactly. And then we have a losing season, so it's. I don't know. We played the best when Nagy hasn't been calling offensive plays, and the defense is doing what the defense always does. We're leading the league in sacks right now, so. Look for them to get after the quarterback. Hopefully Mac plays, and hopefully we can get a much needed win at home to try to lift ourselves into the standings a little bit more. Because I'm, spoiler alert, not taking Minnesota this week either, and I didn't take Green Bay. So
okay. Well, yeah, I don't blame you, but it's tough, man. Like the 49ers have a decent squad. I wouldn't say they're way ahead of the
they're banged up though.
They are banged up, but like aside from that, they're not way ahead of the Bears. But man, the Bears just haven't the Bears have the talent on their roster. They just don't have the right ways to put them together and make them work well as a unit. And that's the thing that's been holding them back. If they can fix things up, what's up, DJ?
I was about to say it's this thing called a head coach.
That's
was the title you were talking about for
all
that
shit
you were talking about.
It's 100% the play calling. That's I think what has been the biggest Dolphins problem is the offensive play calling has been horrible. And then the defense, you can only do so much when your offense is not giving you time to rest. You know?
Yeah, when you're on the field 24/7, it's hard to be that good. And yet the Bears are still doing it. That's the crazy part. If we had a competent head coach calling plays, we have 3 adequate quarterbacks. I feel like at least
3 serviceable quarterbacks.
At least 3 quarterbacks that can get the job done and that can get us into the playoffs. But yet it seems like we might not make it to the playoffs, and that's a shame.
You're definitely not making it to the
playoffs. It seems like a
playoffs.
long shot, and that's why another reason why I'm picking the San Francisco 49ers. I just think they can get it done. But it's going to be a close one. This is probably one of the closest games I think is going to happen this week. It's whoever has the ball last in this game is going to win. And if it's the Bears, it may or may not be in their favor if they have the ball last because they've had those offensive struggles. What about you, DJ?
Well, DJ, tell me who's going to make it above the Bears.
Side note, Leonard Floyd was the guy you were thinking of.
No,
The-
Leonard Floyd's with the Rams.
That's what I thought. Oh, I
No,
guess I
I'm
heard
trying
the
to
wrong
think of
thing.
the guy that we picked up from the Cowboys, Robert Woods.
Oh, okay.
Is
Oh,
that-
Robert
no,
Quinn.
Robert
not
Quinn.
Wood,
Yeah,
Robert
the D
Quinn.
line. But
Robert Woods is also with the Rams.
Yeah.
But no, real quick, tell me who's gonna make it into the playoffs with an added wild card spot from the NFC? Because
well,
obviously
the other 3 spots in the NFC, you mean?
yeah,
Because
Like the wild
other
card
than
spots
the
aside from
the
division
'Cause-
winners.
I'm assuming we all think probably Green Bay 6-1 right now, probably gonna be 6-2, but
NFC
still
North
still
representative,
gonna
yeah.
probably win the NFC
100%.
North.
the loser of the NFC South, which would happen to be the Buccaneers or the Saints, is getting 1 wild card spot.
Yep.
You can sort of pencil that one in.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay, then the Rams.
and then possibly 2 teams from the NFC West with you
Arizona.
have Arizona and the Rams. Those are
Yep.
going to be the top 2 seeded teams from at least from like the NFC West.
That's why we definitely need to win this game against the Niners.
It gives you a
because
chance.
It could
It
come
could be
down
a
to
tiebreaker,
us.
yeah.
It could come down to us. In Seattle, I would have said maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago.
they're a little too far
But-
removed.
No rest
The
for
Russell
the
Wilson
next
injury killed
3 or
them.
4 more weeks,
Mhm.
and Geno Smith is not getting it done. I'm not
Well,
confident.
Yeah, so
We'll
you're
talk about it when we get to
mathematically, I feel what you're saying.
Seahawks.
Because the Vikings still could
The Vikings are still in
take
the running
that
They
that
could.
third playoff
They
spot.
definitely could. Maybe the Falcons, maybe
too. NFC East, no one's.
maybe.
And then
but besides
in the
that,
NFC
yeah.
East, no one's really competing with the Cowboys.
No.
Because
Look at this guy.
who would be the next?
Look at this
You
guy.
can't even see him. The thing is covering him. But,
That nigga said the Falcons.
I mean, just looking based off record.
no,
but
Falcons are too far removed to have a
Oh,
chance.
They have the
man.
same record as
Oh,
the
man.
Vikings right now, but
Yeah,
No,
but they're in a
the-
different division.
No, the Vikings are 3-3, and the Falcons are
3-3.
2-4. I think.
I'm
Are
looking
they?
at it right now with my
Oh.
own eyeballs, baby.
Either way,
3-3, dog.
either way, they're in the Vikings will have a more favorable chance against division foes to pad your stats.
Yeah.
More than the
Yeah.
Falcons would.
All right. Well, who are you picking in this game, bro?
That's not-
Let's just move on. We'll see what happens.
You brought up the question.
Well,
and you
we're-
can't be upset when we're trying to give you the answer.
No,
Chief.
I mean, we don't know. There's still 10 games left.
Yeah.
Some teams have 11, so still time. We'll see.
Well, the time is out for the pick, according to Austin, which is why I'm going to leave you with the 49ers
Yes,
as my note. You said you
I know I'm in
alluded
good hands
earlier-
when I pick the same team as DJ did.
You alluded to earlier how this will be a nail biter type of game.
It's gonna
But-
come down to the wire.
I don't think so. The Bears are putting up 14 points a game. So you mean to tell me through
For
60
now.
minutes you're putting up
2 touchdowns.
2 touchdowns? It just
Yeah.
like I don't know, man. Something just doesn't sit right with me. And although you guys are 2-1 at home, the 49ers are 2-1 on the road. So something's gonna give.
Yeah.
And
We haven't scored more than 20 points at all this season.
Yeah, and that's another thing that
More
I
than
want to say.
17 points.
The Bears play to their opponent. Like if they're a bad opponent, it's gonna be a really low scoring game. It's a good opponent, they're gonna put up 17 points.
Could you
But it's not gonna
imagine?
be
Could you
enough.
imagine if we had the Dolphins defense or something like that? We'd be like 0-7 too, probably.
What you mean? I think the Dolphins defense
they're just underperforming.
secondary's better.
If we had a
The
bad
pass
defense,
if we switched pass rushes, your team would be horrible and my team would be like unstoppable.
if we had a bad defense though, we would be so screwed.
You guys
man.
would be
We'd be like
winless.
the Lions.
Yeah.
We'd both
Yeah,
probably be
100%.
0-7, honestly. But moving on.
Well, before we move on, let's give a quick shout out to NFLGamePicker.com. Sign up for free today and pick your game every week with your friends, family, and coworkers at NFLGamePicker.com.
That's NFLGamePicker.com.
Well, thank you for that, Chris. Next, we have the Tennessee Titans at the Indianapolis Colts, an AFC South divisional matchup. And this game could be entertaining. It could not be. It's really in between. It's really in between what Indianapolis Colts team you get. Because if the Colts do not come out and perform well, the Titans can just run all over them. And that's something I'm a little afraid of. But the Colts have been looking well as of late.
Colts are running the ball good too.
Mhm.
But You want me to start off with this one?
Knock yourself
Yeah,
out, dude.
Tennessee is. It's hard because I want to say they're the best team in the NFL right now, almost just based off of.
They're probably one of the better teams in the AFC.
I just think in the NFL, just based like okay, you had one really really bad loss against the Jets.
Shocker.
Shocker.
That was a stunner.
I mean, you lose by a field goal. Even Jets fans are surprised by it. And then you lose to the Cardinals, who are 7-0. So it's
the
not.
best team in the NFL.
I mean, you got killed by the Cardinals. First week, though, everybody makes mistakes in the first week.
5 sacks.
But
On Chandler
you
Jones
beat the
alone.
Seahawks with a healthy Seahawks team. You already beat the Colts by. It wasn't as close as the final score tells you it was.
Mhm.
You beat the awesome Jacksonville Jaguars, the Buffalo Bills, and the Chiefs. Like you're beating good teams, and you held the Chiefs at 3 points. And okay, the Chiefs haven't been.
Would
playing
you
well
say
either,
that's
but
because? Okay, real quick. Would you say that's because? And that's something that I've heard a lot of across like all media is like the Chiefs. Well, Patrick Mahomes has been figured out. You run that too high safety and it gets shut down.
No, he's not figured
are you
out.
buying into that?
Is Tom Brady figured out?
No, because Tom Brady probably changes his game.
But then again, Tom Brady has had literally a top 10 defense damn near every year he was in New England. So
That's something that
Here
definitely
in
Tampa, too.
two
Plus,
exactly.
he's
But
got
that's
3 potential Hall of Fame wide receivers too.
this is the first time
4.
he's had that.
If you
though.
include
So,
Gronk as a wide receiver, tight end type of
I
guy.
include him as a tight end, but
this
yeah.
is definitely like his best weaponry as far as like his arsenal. This is definitely his best arsenal. But Tom
Well,
Brady's always had a
let me
great
tell
defense
you.
to support him.
Let me tell you who the Colts have beaten, and see if I can change your guys' mind because I know you guys.
I know one of them.
I
Can I say the first one that they beat, please?
Sure.
Please, Chris. Thank you. The first team they beat was the Miami Dolphins. Next,
Texans,
Okay.
49ers. Big whoop.
49ers, did they have Jimmy Garoppolo or Trey Lance even playing in those games? 'Cause I know that might have been when they were injured.
They had Jimmy.
Oh, this was
Garoppolo.
last week. Yeah, you're right.
He-
They had Jimmy
One
Garoppolo,
touchdown,
and
2
that game was just a
interceptions.
mess. Like
Yeah, it was
weather wise, it was
Yeah.
just such a bad game to like throw the ball. So like,
Yeah, I was telling you guys about that earlier.
mhm. I wouldn't say necessarily. I wouldn't say necessarily like that was a bad game for like bad performance wise from anybody in that game because I mean just the weather conditions. I mean it's so hard to throw
Yeah.
the football in that type of weather. But
No.
continue.
No, I'm just simply going with the Titans. Shout out to Bryce. If you watched last season, Bryce was on with us. Hopefully you're watching at home, Bryce Aroni. We miss you. Hope you're doing well up there in Tennessee. And I love the city of Nashville, and that's where they play. So let's go Titans.
Is there a reason you love Nashville? Moving on.
Moving on. Another podcast for another day.
I'm just fixated on this thing that you said the Titans are like contenders.
Contenders?
Isn't that what you said? Or you said
they're
something?
the
I
best
said-
team.
I said-
You're one of the best
I
teams in the
said they
NFL. I
made
mean,
it.
that's kind of
Yeah.
contender
That's-
talk, dude.
And that's
Yeah.
just mind blowing to me because
No,
they do the
that's what I'm
same
saying.
thing. Like the last 5 years, if you think dating back
They've
since
been the same. team.
2017, they've been the exact same team.
Yeah.
And no matter a first round exit in the division round or
AFC champion.
you know the AFC Championship game against the Chiefs,
I think it's different this year, man.
they
They added Julio Jones.
you sound
That's
like
the only
you
difference.
sound like
That's
a
the only
Titans
difference.
fan now because that's one of those things, bro. Like I get it, the Titans are a good football team. Yeah, they're cool and they're all right, but as far as to say they're one of the best teams in the NFL, I mean, granted, it's week
I'd say
7.
that's a bit of a stretch, but they're
Yeah.
one of the better teams. in the
Yeah, they're
NFL.
one for sure one of the better teams, but I wouldn't call them that. But that's also because I'm picking the Colts, which is
Mhm.
why I'm sort of having a strong side on the Colts on this one.
Mhm.
Because if you think about it, like their last 4 weeks or the last month, dating back to their first win against the Dolphins, when Carson Wentz got back, they pretty much have been looking the part. They lost a nail biter to Baltimore on Monday Night Football,
Mhm.
which they were controlling the game up until like late in the third, you say the fourth
Dude,
quarter.
That comeback by the Ravens was just unreal. Like that was more of a comeback by the Ravens than a loss by the Colts.
And then you go on the trend. They steamrolled past the Texans. They looked impressive against the 49ers. I honestly like the trend the Colts are going on right now. So I'm going to be I won't say a bandwagon, bandwagoner, but I'm definitely
you're riding the wave.
Yeah, I'm riding the Colts wave so far.
I don't blame you, man. The Colts have been looking good, and like they're becoming that team that they were kind of expected to be, man. Like they, had that
Great
unfortunate
defense.
early exit in the playoffs last year against the Bills, but going into this year, the expectations were kind of screwed through the roof. You have Carson Wentz coming onto the team, replacing Phillip Rivers, and he hasn't looked bad at all. I think he's looked actually a lot better than what people were kind of expecting out of him. And then you throw on the fact that the defense off to a bad start, but I think they're finding their ways again. And it's definitely like I think it was Xavier Rhodes who had that almost pick six that if he didn't step out, that would have been crazy. I mean, aside from that, I mean the Colts have been looking good, but man, this Titans team, I don't know what it is about them. Like obviously, I know their offense. Feed the ball to Derrick Henry. Run it up the gut with Henry. Like you go as far as Derrick Henry takes you. And like Tannehill will be icing on the top. Julio Jones, AJ Brown, those guys will be icing on the top. But Derrick Henry is the heart and soul of that Titans team. But then their defense has actually been playing really good. And one thing that Vrabel says is like, those tip balls are like lottery tickets. You always got to cash them in when you can. So, and that's something that they've been doing a lot of. Like, whenever there's been a ball popped up in the air, like they're around the ball. It doesn't matter if they come down with it or not, but they definitely around the ball, and that's something that separates good teams from bad teams. It's like if you can get those second chance type of interceptions, turnovers, whatever it may be, that's huge for you.
Well, let me add more icing onto my Tennessee Titan cake because I'm gonna be eating it next week.
You guys may sway my decision.
When you
so let's go.
lose. The Titans have a pretty good rushing defense. One of the better teams in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Better than the Colts, actually.
Top 10 rush defense.
Actually, yeah, better than the Colts. And one of the biggest reasons the Colts have been competitive and still in games has not been from throwing the ball. It's been from running the ball. And then on top of that, the Colts rushing defense hasn't been great, like I just mentioned. They're averaging 111 yards. But have they gone against Derrick Henry yet?
Yes.
Exactly. And what happened?
But that was also without Carson Wentz, without your guard Quentin Nelson. So
I'm just saying,
without T.Y. Hilton, who they're still managing the season
111
without.
yards in general, and this man is probably the best running back in football.
There's no problem. He is the best running back.
Future Hall of Famer, maybe the best running back we've seen in the last few years.
Okay, but
Derrick
I just want to get a little point across. You said who have the Colts played against. You could fair well say the same again with the Titans. Granted, they lost against the Cardinals week 1. They beat a Seahawks team who isn't who we said they were going to be. They beat a Colts without the players I just told you who they were. And then they lost to the Jets without both of their receivers. Still that same running back monster you were talking about. Still that same defense. And then they go on and beat the Jaguars. They had an impressive game against the Bills, which is a great comeback game. I'm not going to take that away from them. But then they just beat up against the Chiefs, who we were just talking about. Did Patrick Mahomes get figured out? So,
but they're a lot. They already lost. They lost to Derrick Henry. He put up. I just looked at it. It was like 115 yards. They haven't beaten anybody good either, though. That's the thing. The Dolphins, the Texans, the 49ers.
I get what you're saying.
You can only play who's in front of you.
And that's the thing. Like the Colts, when they didn't play Derrick Henry the first time, you were without your Pro Bowl, who people are saying the best guard in all of NFL. Which if he's in, all you got to do is push behind him, and you can get 3 to 4 yards running the ball. Yeah, the Colts, Quentin Nelson, the best guard they consider in the NFL. You're without the guy who you just signed and everything, and Carson Wentz, who honestly, like we say, he looks like a better version of himself than what he did the year prior. So
better than.
Well, it's not hard to look better than last year, exactly. Mm-hmm. But he's I won't say he's returning to that MVP status in 26 or 2017. Mm-hmm. But he's not there yet. But he's not.
You don't like the offensive line for Tennessee though, with Luan and Saffold.
Well, Luan got concussed against the Bills. I don't know if he played last week.
No, he's off. I'm pretty sure.
And another thing too, the Titans, every game they played in, Like the average margin of victory is less than 4 points. So it's
that is one thing I would say about
Not
this
every
Titans
game.
team is that
the average margin for the season is like 4 points.
Yep, it's really close. They've had a lot of close games, and that's the one thing I would say that kind of like is like, oh man, like
They're winning those games.
they are winning the games.
They
like
are winning them.
don't get me wrong.
Jets.
They are winning those games, but man, it's hard like when you have a team that's like pretty good and then they have those struggles to win those close games, but they end up doing it. Is all the more reason that I'm inching closer and closer to picking the Titans. And DJ stepped off to the bathroom real quick, but he screamed "What?" So
from the background, but
from the background, But
so
yeah,
who are you rolling with and why?
I'm going with the Titans. I think the Tennessee Titans just have a tremendous running attack with Derrick Henry, and like I totally agree with you, right? And then their defense, although they're not like world beaters, they're not the greatest team. They are definitely a team that is not to be messed with. Like they can do it all. They're not like a specified. Oh, we can stop the run.
Yeah.
We're no fly zone. Like the defense is every week
average.
they have a different type of like mentality. Like last year the Dolphins just got hella interceptions, especially with like Xavier Howard, and then sacking the quarterback a lot. Yeah,
too.
and then when you look at the Titans, it's just like this week we're stopping the run. This week we're not letting you pass the ball very good. This week we're just making you we're forcing a lot of turnovers. That's the one thing about this defense for the Titans that is really compelling towards me. But we can move on to the next game since we spent a good amount of time on this one. This next game we have is the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Seattle Seahawks. If Russell Wilson was still here as a quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks and did not go down with a finger injury, I would 100% say the Seahawks.
Yeah.
And Jacksonville, they're coming off the bye. They just beat the Dolphins in London off of a miraculous win. I don't even want to talk about it too much, but they just I don't know. Seattle's been competing in these games even without Russell Wilson. So I'm just going to go with the Seahawks just for the mere fact that, something's got to give, and they've been so competitive even with Russell Wilson being out. It's going to go over. It has to boil over in this game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. So lock me in for the Seattle Seahawks.
All right. Well, I'm going to be brief.
Go ahead.
This is a battle of two of the worst defenses outside of Miami in the league.
Mm-hmm.
They are. They're the second.
No, I'm agreeing with you. Go ahead. Keep going.
Second and third worst
Stat-wise,
defenses, stat-wise, as far as like yards allowed and all those stats go. I just switched my pick. I'm gonna roll with Jacksonville away.
Duval.
Shout out Duval. They have Trevor Lawrence. He's healthy. He's better than Geno Smith, and it's pretty much my only reason. DJ, what do you think?
DJ.
Literally, I just changed my pick as Austin was speaking his brilliant words that came out of his mouth. I'm picking the Jaguars.
Dude, I'm about to lock
One of
in
the only
for the
reasons I
Seahawks.
picked the Jags is to make up ground on you, man.
Yeah, well, we're lock and step on this one.
All right.
Because
If I go down, you go down.
yeah.
You ain't going nowhere, son.
But just because, like you were saying, Jacksonville's been in close games, and stat-wise, the Dolphins are the worst team in the league. Well, stat-wise, the Jaguars are a better team than the Seahawks. They put up more yards per game, and they give up less yards per game. So just going off stats, and the fact that you said that Trevor Lawrence is the better quarterback than Geno Smith, if everything is an equal playing field, you're always going to turn to the quarterback. So why would I not pick the better quarterback in this situation?
It's kind of bold. It's honestly kind of bold that you guys are saying a rookie quarterback, obviously number one overall pick, Trevor Lawrence, is better than Geno
He's
Smith.
faced some good defenses too, honestly.
He hasn't looked bad. Don't get me wrong.
Now,
he has not looked bad.
Cardinals, Bengals,
if hold on. Right now, Tua went out, and you had a trade available for either two quarterbacks. Which quarterback are you picking, and why?
Okay, well, it's a little more trick question-wise because, Dolphins just drafted Tua, right? Last year. And then you go
everything aside from, just based on your present team right now, if you were to just plug and play, not subtracting anybody or anything, if you were to just get rid of Tua and get Trevor or Geno.
That's a tough one. I'd honestly say is this like okay? I'll say Geno Smith just for the mere fact. That's good, man. He has way more NFL experience. Yes.
Didn't he lose his job to Tebow?
I'm not too sure.
But yeah,
But
go ahead.
I don't know, man. Like you got to see it in the point of experience, and like I think he's doing well with the Seahawks. They've literally lost by a field goal in each
Field
game.
goals.
So Chris was saying from the distance in the bathroom, because everyone needs to go to the bathroom while we record, is that 0-2 as well when you've lost by a combined 6 points, which is losing by a field goal in each and every game. I mean, that is not bad performance, dude.
I mean, you may be right, but one thing that Gino did that Lawrence will never do is got his jaw broken by his own teammates. So,
Well, that is not on the football field. When he's on the football field, I'd take
take
Geno
him
Smith.
off the football field. You
Well,
know?
I mean, that sucks. I mean, no one told this freaking Jets linebacker to punch him in the
At this
face.
moment, I realize why I like who I like and why you like who you like.
Yeah,
I'm playing.
it's cool, dude. It's cool, dude. I like the fact that Geno has way more experience. Trevor Lawrence, tremendous player. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, that's why it took me a while to actually answer, because I was really like debating it in my head. And it all comes down for me was experience. Like, who do I want coming into my team that if I can plug them in, they can like start doing decent right away?
Yeah.
I take Geno Smith just for the mere fact that he's been around the league. He's been in a lot of offenses. With that comes, okay, I can go here and I'll be fine. Trevor Lawrence, you drop him in the Dolphins, he's gonna be like, what?
But speaking about the experience thing, he comes from a place where, high pressure games, I won't say the norm, but you were expected
Clemson,
to win. Yeah, so
For sure.
he came from a place where he was expected to deliver in some high pressure games. So
And you know what his head coach said one of the first weeks in the NFL?
what's
It's
that?
like you're playing Alabama every week.
It-
NFL is a different beast than the football,
It is.
man,
Well,
than
let's,
college football.
real quick, let's keep it moving. But before we do, Geno Smith, best year, 12 touchdowns, 21 interceptions.
That's fine.
Is it? Maybe it's fine.
Trevor
for-
Lawrence is probably
for
gonna break.
quarterbacks down there in South Florida. But
J-
for the rest of
Trevor
the
Lawrence
world,
is probably gonna break Peyton Manning's interception rookie record,
I
so
don't think so.
he was on pace for it.
Let's keep it moving.
All right, we'll keep it moving. Next game we have is the New England Patriots at the Los Angeles Chargers. I think this is one of the first 4:00 games. Or last one was one of the first 4:00 games. Aside from that,
A side note.
go ahead, DJ.
A side note. I know why you like Geno Smith so much.
Oh,
He's from-
geez, here we go.
Let me guess.
I just
from South
Googled
Florida?
where he was
Is he-
from,
is he
and
from
this
South
fucker's
Florida?
from South Florida. So hey, it runs deep in this guy's blood over here, right here.
Hey
But
man, there's
I'm
nothing
sorry,
like
I
that
just had
South
to-
Florida
yeah.
football, man. I'm telling you right now. But
Miramar High School.
yeah, sure. But no, that didn't go into account for it.
No,
But
I'm
like,
just breaking your balls.
I know, but realistically, like it's just an experience for me. But real quick, New England Patriots versus Los Angeles Chargers. This one, I want to go with the Chargers, just for the mere fact that I think they're the better team. They've been having they've had a way better start to the season. Patriots are no slouch either, though. So like that's the one thing that's like kind of keeping me away from like picking the Chargers. But they had a big game last week against the Jets, but it's the Jets. Aside from that, it's just not looking good for the Patriots throughout this season. So
Where you going?
going with the Chargers. I have to go with the Chargers. Shout out to my boy Caesar. I'm going with them boats.
Yeah,
What about you, DJ?
I'm going with the Chargers.
Can't blame you.
Yeah, a lot of their players' success is dependent on my fantasy success. So I have to default be a Chargers fan. But
Mhm.
not only that, their offense is almost unstoppable. And their defense is getting healthier as the season progresses. And the Patriots, as you alluded to earlier about the rookie quarterback situation, it's a rookie quarterback going
Mhm.
against some pretty good individual defensive players in the
Mhm.
Chargers. So I don't know, man. I'm picking the Chargers. Just going with the gut.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Chargers as well. Although I do think Mac
Surprised you
Jones.
didn't pick the Patriots to go against us.
I feel like Mac. I probably should.
Too late for that, bro. I
try
locked
to-
you in, dude.
Just
The
try to
graphic
get
is
more.
in, dude.
Just try to get more on DJ. But no, I'm rolling with the Chargers. Although I do think Mac Jones and Justin Herbert are two quarterbacks you're gonna be seeing a lot more of for the rest of their careers. I think they're going to be good going forward, and this will be a good battle of both
future battle of the future.
Yeah, basically. But yeah, we're all rolling with Chargers here, though.
Nice.
I think.
All right. Well, real quick, we'll let DJ introduce us to this next game. DJ, take it away.
Well, this next game is NFC South battle. You have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the defending Super Bowl champions, going up against the New Orleans Saints, the reigning division champions, in the newly named Caesars Palace. This game is one of those ones I've been going back and forth with you guys.
Yeah.
You know, we beat them twice in the regular season. They got us in the playoff game, the game that really matters, in my opinion.
Yes, sir.
Both matter.
Going into this game, I was going with the Buccaneers, but after watching the Monday night cast and seeing how Tom Brady has no respect for defensive players, and a lack of a metaphor, I would say, I'm picking my Saints. And, you know, if I lose this one, I got another game to pick the Buccaneers in. But this is more so a heartfelt pick than an actual realistic analyst pick. And just figured I'd let that be known that I'm rolling with the home team more so than my football smarts are telling me to pick the Buccaneers.
I can't blame you, man. The Buccaneers are a really good football team, and then so are the Saints. I mean, they haven't looked the greatest as of late, but the defense is pretty well, and then the offense is pretty well. It's just like if you get both of those things working against this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team, then like, man, like you guys may have a real shot at winning this game. But it's like, man, it's so hard. It's just like the only way, like I said, is if they do it like if they both on all phases of the ball, they're just clicking. And the chances of that are very slim, just like for any football team, not just your Saints. It's just like any football team. It's really hard. So, you know, the offense for the Bucs is always firing. The defense has been dealing with injuries for the Bucs. It's really close on this one. But
before you pick, I would care to mention that Scotty Miller and Antonio Brown are still out as far as deep ball threats, and you know how Marshawn Lattimore likes to lock up Mike Evans. So that should be hopefully that persuade you a little bit more to come on this side, because I see where you're going already.
I don't know, man. I'm kind of inching over that way, man. I don't know.
Plus, I mean, we were talking about it earlier. DeMario Davis.
Yeah.
Huge player. Looks
awesome. One of the best linebackers this year so far.
I love that he wears his religion on his sleeve too. That's another side note, because everybody's, you know, has their own faith, but DeMario Davis, I love that he wears it on his sleeve.
I'm gonna roll with the Bucs in this one though. Although, like, as much as I don't think the Saints are as good as the record shows, they actually are. Like, if this is another situation where, like, if you had a really good quarterback, like Drew Brees still there.
Oh, if Drew Brees was here, I would no question say the Saints.
I mean, Drew Brees, like, 4 years ago.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Even last year.
No,
he went undefeated against him.
No, dude. Well, he did, but as far as the physical eye test of Drew Brees, I was over him 2 years ago.
For sure.
And if you guys had some of your offensive weapons still, and Kamara, I have him on fantasy, he hasn't been great, honestly.
Is Thomas coming back this week?
Except for, I mean, last week he put up $155 receiving yards.
He can't run the ball, and the Bucs have one of the best running defenses as well. But
DJ, quick question: is Mike Evans coming back this?
Mike
Thomas.
He was supposed to come back. They placed him off of IR last week, but he didn't like practice and participate. So I'm hoping he practices this week so he can be available for next week. But the Buccaneers secondary isn't what I'm worried about. It's that interior pressure that Chris was alluding to earlier that I'm more so.
They can put a lot of pressure with their defensive line from the Bucs on Jameis Winston, which is a key factor. I mean, if you get that pressure on Jameis Winston, he crumbles. I mean, that's the one thing about Jameis Winston that has
he'll step up in the pocket and look for nothing. Like, I'm like, why are you stepping up in the pocket and not throwing the ball away? Or why are you not dumping it down?
The execution has to be like top tier, like zero little mistakes for the Saints to come out with this win. But That's why I'm gonna go with the Bucks. But man, I mean, I hope it's a close one because I really like this type of matchup. I think these two teams are really heavy hitters, especially in the NFC South. I mean, they're the top two dogs there. But moving forward, I mean, it's just the Saints are in a roadblock right now, and the Buccaneers are on their way. So they need to find something to do to advance that.
I would say Jameis Winston is more in our way than the Buccaneers are, but that's another.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, but I'm just
Jameis Winston's trolling right now, dude.
I think I mean, both defenses are pretty good. Like Saints are 8, Bucks are 9. Saints allow a bit more points than the Bucks do, which I don't know. Is probably why I'm leaning more towards the Bucks than anything. So I'm gonna go with the Buccaneers in this one. Brady's also leading the league in passing right now. Yeah. So I'm gonna take the Bucks. Shout out to one of our faithful watchers, my good buddy Sean. He's a big Bucks fan. So hopefully he'll send us maybe a video or something we can play with him ranting about the Bucks. But
we would never on this podcast.
But the Bucks look good, and they're in the top 5 for turnovers. So Jameis does like to turn the ball over. Yeah,
man. And like I said, as I started to begin this soliloquy, it's more so like a heartfelt pick more than anything. Like, of course, my football, like I could have points to argue or defend the Saints, but at the end of the day, like you said, they're a little bit more better. And plus, you know, I got 9 games to play with, so I'm gonna try to, you know, be with my boys and make Mama proud. What's up, Mom?
What's up, Mama? All right. Well, 2 of these next 3 games I think we'll go through pretty fast. So the first one of the 3, we have one of the later games. We have the Washington football team at the Denver Broncos, and real quick, I'm just gonna go with Washington on this one, just for the mere fact that Broncos have just not been who they started off the season as portraying as themselves. Like, they played some of the worst teams in the beginning of the season, and then they've actually played some decent competition, and they have not.
But we knew that, though. Yeah. We knew once they got into their test, how would they? That would be the true testament. I'm picking the Broncos to rebut against you a little bit, but you know, based on this on paper thing that I keep going back to for this segment, the Broncos are the more complete team on offense and defense. The Broncos are giving up 335 yards a game, whereas the football team is giving up 416. Yeah. So the discrepancy in yards gained and yards allowed is alarming. And also, I just need the Broncos defense to perform for my fantasy purposes.
I mean, the defense has been top 5 so far in the NFL, which is pretty surprising to me, especially considering these 2 teams. You wouldn't think Washington would be top 5 over Denver, but it's not the case. I don't think Taylor Heineke is very good. Last time I checked, I think his QBR rating is like 47 or something.
45.
Yeah, there you go. So pretty bad. I'm not gonna root for Denver. I'm gonna go with Denver here. What about you, Austino?
I already picked Washington. I just think they'll put it together, and it's another thing for me to put against you guys. Like,
pick up some of that ground Chris is talking about.
Yes, sir. We'll go over our records after this. These next 2 games, but next we have the Dallas Cowboys at the Minnesota Vikings for Sunday Night Football, and make my pick real quick and easy. I'm going with the boys. I don't care if they have Dak or not. I think the Cowboys are just a better team than the Vikings.
Whoa. Yep. You say you don't care if they don't have Dak or not?
I do not care.
Well, that's the biggest reason why I have pause for this game. I mean, I'm picking the Cowboys for now because I assume Dak is going to play and he wants to play. But if you got
Cooper
Rush. Yeah, if you got Cooper Rush.
Central Michigan.
He doesn't even sound like a quarterback, but that's enough. But his play last year when Dalton went out gave me more than enough reason to pick the Vikings if Dak was to not play. But for the purpose of this video, I'm picking the Cowboys, but I wouldn't be
game time. It might be a different decision. Okay.
So
I mean, today he practiced, and just for listeners' reference, today's Wednesday. I'm not sure when you listen to this, but
we'll probably have it up by Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, he looked they said he looked okay in practice today, so I'm assuming he's gonna play. So I'm gonna go with the Cowboys as well.
Nice. Clean sweep for the Cowboys, but DJ does have a conditional pick. If Dak is not playing, you're switching to the Vikings.
Yes, sir.
Correct? Chris, what about you?
If he doesn't play, I might switch it too, just based off of me not trusting Cooper Rush. But their run game is still pretty decent, but I might switch it. For now, it's going to be the Cowboys.
For now, Cowboys all across the board, but these two guys are scared that if Dak Prescott does not play, they're going to lose their game. I have no fear. I think they have a good chance.
I feel like that's a righteous scaredness, though.
I don't blame you. I really don't blame you, but I'm pretty confident in that. One, either Dak will play or that they'll play fine without him.
Gotcha.
Next, and last but not least, we have Monday Night Football.
Thank you,
boys. We have the New York Giants at the Kansas City Chiefs, and I think this is probably going to be pretty quick. But I want to start off with Chris. Chris, what do you think about these two teams?
I think both are disappointing in their own ways, honestly. Obviously, Kansas City losing record last in the division. Nobody probably saw that coming. I'm still gonna roll with the Chiefs.
Nice.
But I thought the Giants were gonna take the next step this year, especially with the addition of Galladay, although he's been hurt and banged up the whole year.
That's the one thing that's been holding back this Giants team is literally the injuries.
Kadarius Toney been a better receiver than Kenny Galladay.
Yeah. I'm so mad. Kenny Galladay literally has ruined one of my football. I think two of my fantasy football teams. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's unfortunate too. But, I mean, if you look at it from Daniel Jones has been injured this year. Saquon Barkley has. Sterling Shepard, Kenny Galladay. Tony's been hurt. Evan Ingram's been hurt. So it's like
Evan Ingram started the season off injured.
Exactly, and he's still questionable going into the next game. They've had like 6 people go on IR for defense too. Although I think Jabril Peppers is coming back, which I think is a big help for them, but not going to be enough against the Chiefs. Hopefully, Chiefs get back to where we're used to seeing them going, make it to 500 and start winning some games.
It's good. It's a tough road for the Chiefs, especially after having this completely rough start. But I mean, if they lose this game, dude, it can go all downhill. But DJ, go ahead. You look eager.
Well, no, if they lose this game, that's definitely.
I wouldn't call it a wrap, but it's definitely like.
Well, no, I'm just going off what our colleague Chris just said here. Every single injury other than the safety that you just mentioned, Jabril Peppers, everybody's on the offensive side of the ball. The Chiefs' struggle is more so on their defensive side of the ball because they're still putting up 430 yards a game. They're still putting up 27 points a game. Although Patrick Mahomes has had more turnovers than he would like, it's not like their offense isn't clicking. So for the mere I'm picking the Chiefs for the mere reason that, I won't say I wasn't against the Chiefs to start the season, but I wasn't as high on the fork as everybody thought they was. And now that they're getting back down to the rest of the NFL reality, I just feel like the Giants are a wake-up call. Like, whoa, hold on, what are we doing?
Yeah.
We're in the same breath as the New York Football Giants right now.
Yeah.
Like that just doesn't equate.
That's definitely some reason for concern because the Chiefs have been to 2 consecutive Super Bowls. I think it's 3 straight AFC championships. So you have these high expectations, and then in the middle, early on in the season, you're far from it. You should be leading your division. You're not. You're dead last in the division actually. So that's just all more so a concern for this Kansas City Chiefs team. And this. I wouldn't say the final nail in the coffin, but it could be very close if they lose this game. That being said, are they gonna? No, but they have a whole long.
As far as the perception of the Chiefs in totality, it don't matter.
DJ gets what I'm saying.
It don't matter how many games you win. You could go on to win 7 of the next 10 games, but the fact that at your lowest you couldn't get a rebound win against the Giants.
Yeah, DJ's literally getting what I'm coming from. So. I am picking the Chiefs, but man, if they lose this game, it's gonna be tough for me to pick them throughout the rest of the season. Just for the mere fact that, man, what are you guys doing there, man? How can you be going to all these high 3 straight AFC championships, 2 straight Super Bowls, and your defense is not that good right now. Like,
The
what is
defense
going
hasn't
on?
been healthy the whole year. Either,
I don't.
though.
It doesn't matter.
Plus, like, I'm pretty sure the Chiefs play the Raiders twice, Chargers once, Broncos once, all divisional games. Pretty sure they're gonna be all right.
yeah,
They still have a lot of time.
they have a chance to make up ground in the division, but man, like, you do not want to be the Chiefs going into the playoffs as a low wild card seed.
Penalties too,
Yeah,
like killed them last week against the Titans. Like they had, I want to say it was 6 first downs that got called back because of penalties.
Mhm.
So you fighting yourself in a football game isn't going to help equate to
100%.
a victory. So
I feel that. I mean, although as you say, like you wouldn't really want to be a wild card team if you're the Chiefs. I wouldn't want to play the Chiefs.
exactly.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that.
So-
But man, like, they're just not looking like how they used to look. But
Should be an interesting week,
mhm.
don't you think?
I think it's an
I
interesting
think it's
week.
gonna be an interesting week for sure.
It's one of the more interesting weeks this season. But that pretty much wraps up week 8 game picks. But we could continue in the discussion, talk about anything else we probably didn't give enough light to. But real quick, let's go over our records going into this week 8. I am 69-38. and that puts me that would put me at 4 out of
Tie.
6.
Tied for
Tied
4.
for
Yeah, tied for 4th out of 6. Who wants to share their record next?
I'll go next since I'm, second in the totem pool here. 72-35. I started off hot last year, did not finish very good. Hopefully I can maintain my steady-ish projections throughout the year.
Yeah,
and
week 6 is really what killed you, and you could be really
Yeah.
close to DJ if it had not been for week 6.
Week 1 was my worst week.
For sure.
8-8, but besides that, I've been like 11-5, 10-6, 10-3, 13-3 in that range. But hoping to gain some ground. Although we had a lot of similar picks this week. So
DJ?
Well, you know what they say? They save the best for last, and that's called the little champion right there. Your boy is sitting at a healthy 80-27 through 7 weeks of the season. And last week was my worst week of the NFL game pickers. I went 9-4, but it's some games, the games that I'm losing in the games, I wouldn't say like branch picks, but some of the games are like, I wouldn't be mad. Like I can see it going either way, so I would pick the uncommon side.
Yeah.
Which you need to, not to toot their own horn, but you need that to get an undefeated season. You need one of those games to swing your way. So
For sure.
that's where we're sitting at over here.
I can't blame you. But yeah, Chris, like me, unlike you, I haven't had a losing week. Come on, dude.
I haven't had a losing week either. What are you talking about?
I've been positive the entire time.
Oh,
baby.
you had a 500 week.
Yeah, 8-8.
Dude.
Yeah,
That's
but
no bueno, dude.
Okay, I went 500, but I'm still in second.
I was just
and
about to
tied
say.
for fourth, so it is what it is, man. It is what it
Oh
is.
man, I'm just busting your chops here. But yeah, week 8, I think there's gonna be a lot of interesting matchups, but there is, those games here and there that are like, okay, whatever. We already know those games are not gonna be that entertaining.
Yeah.
Yep, that pretty much wraps up week 8. Any final words, boys?
I would like to point out one small thing on our humble abode of a website that we use to pick these games, NFLGamePicker.com. I don't know if fans have noticed or not, but you can donate to NFLGamePicker.com as well. It's at the bottom of the website. It's a free site that lets you predict the winners of NFL games with your friends, coworkers, whoever the heck you want to play football with. And we all know ads suck. Nobody likes them. My man Steve will never put them on this site. So he appreciates it if you consider making a donation to keep the old lights on and keep things running around here. And so far, we're about 25% of our way to his goal for the year. And you can also donate to the site, and you can buy coffee for one of our NFL game pickers as well. So I just wanted to point that out to people listening, watching, however you consume your NFL game picker information. And make it aware.
Podcast, however it is.
Exactly. So just wanted to make people aware of it. Anything else you guys want to add?
Other than I let Steve win by 1 point last week, you're welcome.
Oh, in fantasy.
DJ's referring to our fantasy football league. I think next week we'll disclose some information from the league in terms of stats and records and all that stuff, since it's pretty much a good midpoint of the season. But that pretty much wraps up week 8. I appreciate you guys watching, and so do these guys. So thank you very much for sticking around, and see you guys next week.
Later.